from clarkwoods.com. This is Horribly Off Topic, episode number 154. I am Christopher.
Whoa, that's different. I thought you were Earl.
Oh my gosh, got to tell you something. Well, you got to say who you are.
Oh, I'm Steve.
You're Steve. So, for whatever reason, the place that I've worked for these many years, I've worked there as an adjunct teacher since 2007, so 10 years.
Yeah, holy shit, buddy.
When they got me my email address, it has always shown it's E. It starts with the E. I'm not going to do the rest of it, but it's. I'll do there's some part of it I'm not going to do. It's E, which is for Earl, and then my last name, and then something else at the end. Okay, that's fine. I get that. My first email address was eclark@hotmail.com. Not my email address anymore. So go ahead and email it and tell the jackasses who stole it away from me that
someone stole your email.
It's a long story.
Well,
it's not.
You don't really want a Hotmail account, anyways.
No, you don't.
I have one that I can't even get into it unless I give my number, and I don't want to do that. So I don't want to have that fucking email anymore. So if you want to send me some email that I'm never going to read, bagleg42@hotmail.
Bagleg.
Did I ever explain bagleg to you?
No.
It was something. Will was playing Baseball Stars, which was a game for the regular NES, the Nintendo Entertainment Center System. Center. Nintendo Entertainment Center. He was playing that game, and then he was just naming all of his players different things, and there was a guy that used to play for the Houston Astros, Jeff Bagwell.
Oh, didn't he play for the Sox at one point?
He might have. Okay. I don't know, but I think I thought he played for the Astros.
Okay.
Someone can email me and tell me I'm an idiot.
To Bagwell, to
Bagleg42 at Hotmail.
Bagleg42.
But he was just naming all of his players Bag something, and one of my favorites that he did was Bagleg.
Bagleg, and was his number 42, or did you just get the 42?
42, from life, the universe, and everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. It would be funny if he was also number 42 on the, but number one in your hearts.
Yes, of course he is.
E. Clark. Always been a relatively expected email address for me, but when you would enter in your name so that when it showed up for somebody on the other end, you could usually change that to be E. Christopher Clark or Chris Clark or whatever. Usually you could change that. But these 10 years that I've worked there, they have not been able to do that, except that now that I've taken a permanent position in an administrative role as opposed to a teaching role, apparently now they could change my name.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know what, I cannot figure this out, but apparently now when people get email from me, it will no longer say Earl. It will say
Chris.
I don't know if it says E. Christopher, if it says Christopher, or if it says Chris, but it does not say Earl. But that's going to confuse people because then they're going to try to type C. Clark back, and that's not going to do anything. Why is there an E there?
Do you use Outlook or is
Yeah, it's Outlook.
Well, you can do that thing where you search for somebody's name.
Yeah.
Or if you've had an email from this person.
Most of my email is going to come from internal sources, so they're just going to use Outlook, which is.
What about students? They may not have a.
Well, the students also are encouraged to use Outlook. They're encouraged to use their institutional email address.
Yeah, no one ever fucking does that.
Well,
I had one at Framingham. I never knew what it was.
I wonder if mine existed back when I was a student at the university and they just kept it the same, or if I did, because I never used it when I was a student, or if they didn't issue me one until I started working there. I'm curious about that, but that's one of those dumb things that I don't need to be curious about, because why the fuck does it matter?
Curiouser and curiouser.
Curiouser George.
So I want to bring something up right off the bat. Last week
tonight,
Chris. Last week you had mentioned a buddy of yours.
He's not a buddy. He's an internet celebrity.
He's an internet celebrity and he was basically...
I'm guessing we're not mentioning his name this week because you...
Well, I don't know. I don't want to freaking promote somebody who's an asshole. I don't know.
You've given away your
I'm burying the lead.
No, you did not bury the lead.
Oh, sorry. That's the opposite of what I did. So what is it? I don't like being attacked.
Right.
I mean, I was giving he was like from what I remember of the premise was that his dog isn't behaving.
His dog was giving him some trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. So his dog wasn't behaving, and he was asking the internet or his podcast.
I don't
listeners,
think he was. Well, yeah. See, I listened to it. He was not actively asking. He knew that he was going to get feedback, even though he wasn't asking for feedback. He was just telling a story.
So I understand where he's coming from, as far as the fucking not wanting to.
He believes in positive reinforcement only.
Well, I mean, the negative reinforcement is something that people often get wrong as far as like what it is. Like negative reinforcement is taking something away when somebody does something wrong.
Right.
So that's negative reinforcement, as opposed to like negative reinforcement isn't like telling somebody no. That may, because we think that's a negative thing, but it's like it's just a matter of arithmetic as far as negative and positive reinforcement.
Okay, I follow
so if they do something good, you give them a treat. That is giving them something that is positive.
Yeah.
If they do something wrong, you take something away from them. That's negative reinforcement.
Okay, I'm with you. I think I have not. See, I have to hold back in two regards. One, I haven't done any research on dogs. So, and two, I have been listening to, and I'm a fan of this particular person's work.
I have yet to listen to him, and I probably never will because of this interaction. I mean, if he hadn't attacked, he painted me out to seem like I'm like, let's just beat dogs. And I'm like, that is not what I said. That is the exact opposite of what I fucking said. Right. I'm like, you should never hit the dog.
Like, I didn't get the sense that you had said that. I think
I didn't say that.
I don't know that he necessarily was. I have to go back and look at all of the tweets, and there were a lot of them.
Yeah, and I was just like every single one of them. I'm like, you just fucking. If you want to have a conversation with us, just come on the fucking show and we'll have a conversation. If you want to I'm not getting into a fucking battle on Twitter. Like, it's stupid.
Right. Well, and
that's why I was just like, let's agree to disagree, because this isn't going to fucking end well if I start ripping into you.
Yeah. That I can agree with. The I'm not going to get into it on. I'm not going to get into it on Twitter.
So here's my take. So if you don't let like a human being or animal or anything know that what they're doing is incorrect or wrong, then they won't. If it's something they want to do, they will continue to do it regardless of whether they're getting something out of it.
Okay.
I mean, is that? Do you think that's an apt statement?
If they're doing something wrong and you don't let them know that it's wrong, they're going to keep doing the wrong thing. Is that
right?
Yeah.
Like, so, like, say I was playing with my penis on the subway.
Okay.
And everybody was just like, "Oh, whatever." Steve's
just gonna keep
some guy's
Steve
just playing with his penis on the subway.
Okay.
And then no one ever said anything. I never got arrested. No bad things ever happened
You're just
to me.
Gonna keep
Why the fuck
penis.
would I stop doing it? Because playing with my penis is fun.
Unless part of the reason that you were playing with your penis was to get attention. Right? And nobody was giving you the attention that you wanted, then you might try something else to get their attention.
Well, okay.
I mean, I bring that up just as like, if what the dog is looking for is attention, the dog might stop doing what... I don't know anything about dogs.
Well, that may be the case, Chris. Yes. It may be that the dog is looking for attention. But if you don't, like... The problem with it, I think, boils down to the biting.
Mm-hmm.
So if a dog, like, even if the dog doesn't bite anybody in your home,
Yeah.
or maybe just play bites or something like that, but you don't want them to play bite like a person, because then that makes them think, hey, this is okay to do to maybe a person that you don't know.
Yeah.
And from anybody that's ever had a dog in their lives, and has had that dog bite some kid in the neighborhood or bite somebody, 9 times out of 10, that dog's going to get put down.
Because it bit somebody.
Because it bit somebody.
Yeah.
And regardless of the circumstances, it could have been like that. There could have been children tormenting the goddamn dog or making the dog miserable, and so it didn't want to, but it did because it was scared or whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, if the dog bites somebody outside of its own household, it's.
So if this is the way he wants to progress with training his dog, more power to him.
Yeah.
Like I want him to succeed. I want him to have a happy family and a happy dog and a happy life. I may have called him an asshole, but I want him to have a fucking happy life. See, well, that's me.
Yeah. So there were like a few things I wanted to say there, and I can't remember any of them in particular. But
But I don't want his dog to bite somebody and then get put down.
Yeah. No. Nobody wants that. Well, unless it's the person whose kid got bit. I suppose they want it. So I haven't had a chance to watch the videos that this person sent to us. I haven't done the research because I'm still a ways away from there being a dog in our life, and I've got too much.
Well, there was a dog in your life, and there was no training at all. No. That dog did whatever the fuck it wanted.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason that I'm not. I don't know. I was not good. Well, A, I didn't really have any animals of my own as a kid. And B, the animals that I was around when I was a kid were not treated well. Like, let's just be right. Like, they were not necessarily that they were treated poorly, but by the standards I would sort of want to be at today, I feel like those animals were not treated as well as they should have been.
I remember you guys had cats, but I don't think I ever saw them.
Yeah, I had a cat. My brother had a cat. I don't think we knew what the hell we were doing. I think it was just a bad scene, and I don't want that. I don't want my kids to be mean to animals. I don't want myself to be in a position where any frustration comes out. The second thing that I wanted to mention is, while I agree with you that that I don't want to have arguments on Twitter, I think we possibly invited Twitter as a way to comment by mentioning the person.
All right, so next time we don't do that. But he still listened to the show because he knew what I said.
No, he did listen to the show, and so he was.
We're not mentioning him this week.
I am not mentioning.
Jesus fucking Christ!
But he was. It seemed to me that he was listening to the show and like pausing the show to comment on whatever and I think part of that is also that I commented on how particular and how much this particular person can get into a given subject and sort of needle down into the very minutia of it. So I would say that it's my fault. I'm the one that characterized him in this particular way. I replied him, and so the way that the exchange happened is, well, these guys have talked about me as somebody who digs into the minutia. They've replied me, so I'm going to sit here and I'm going to live tweet my listening of their show.
But then the thing that really bugged me was at the very end when I said, let's agree to disagree. He was like, well, science, this is how things get...
This is how disagreements get sorted out.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any like professional dog person that is like, this is exactly how it needs to be done, or this is like, you could have any different dog. Like there's going to be one dog that's going to be perfect for just positive reinforcement, like, you're a good boy when you sit down when I ask you to, or you peed outside, perfect, good, and then and the dog's it's gonna have the proper demeanor for that. But there's gonna be animals that are more willful that maybe don't want to listen to you. Yeah. So you have to train them a little bit more, and then maybe indicate that some of the things they're doing are inappropriate. And so, I mean, I don't know how you would do that without saying no, or how you, or like surprising them, or doing something that that sort of shocks them into saying, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this. The person that I really care about, like that really cares about me, like, as maybe, I don't know if they're thinking about, like, dogs are thinking about it that deeply, but the person that that I get excited when they come home every day, they're upset at me. Maybe I shouldn't do that thing anymore.
I shouldn't tear up the couch or whatever it is. So the closest thing, you mentioned the word willful, and I immediately thought of my youngest child. And it's funny that I thought of that because I know part of that exchange was about how dogs are not people, and to treat them exactly as we would treat children is, I don't know. I'm forgetting the exact exchange. But I also saw this ad this week where there's a little girl, and she's trying to get the attention of what looks like her parents. And I was listening to it. It was on Facebook, and I was watching it with the sound off because I didn't feel like hitting. Was
there words? It was at least subtitles, so you know what the fuck they were saying.
No. She's trying to get their attention, and they're ignoring her. And at different times, they're kind of pushing her away. And it starts to seem like, wow, this is pretty abusive. And of course, the punch, not the punchline, but the point of the ad is they take the little girl out to the middle of a field, and they. With her doll, and they sit her in the middle of the field, and then they toss the doll out into the woods. She runs to go get the doll, and they get in their car and they start driving away. And then the girl runs after them for a second. The guy readjusts his mirror, and it turns from being a girl into a little dog. So I saw this ad this week. I was like, well, that's really fucking sad. The point being, like, why would you? I think the point was, why would you treat your animal like this when you wouldn't treat your child like this?
Right, but also, why would you treat your child like this, but you wouldn't treat your animal like this? Why would you tell a child that they're not supposed to do something,
right? Whereas
you wouldn't tell a dog that. But it's hard to tell the fucking dog that because they for the most part don't understand what you're saying.
So this brings me back to you saying willful and me remembering Melody. So Melody's my youngest child, and willful is probably a pretty good way to describe her. And for the better
free spirit.
For the better part,
and just if your best friend, podcast buddy, I keep on. I'm sorry I called you an asshole.
You did that earlier here on the show,
if
right?
If you're listening this far, if you made it past me calling you an asshole twice, I'm sorry I called you an asshole. I was a little bit heated. I just needed to get it out, get my point out there, and I'm trying to be as civil as possible.
He seems like a very nice guy, but he is a guy who has a lot of strong opinions.
Okay, well, you have strong opinions. I also do.
Yes.
And those are both of what they are. They're both opinions.
Right.
There are plenty of people that are researchers. I mean, there's that Cesar Millan guy. A lot of people take his stuff to be gospel. Some people think it's a fucking bunch of hooey.
Yeah.
So it's like experts aren't necessarily experts if you don't believe what they say.
Melody.
Yes.
Willful. Free spirit. During her pre-verbal days, we didn't get along very well, my youngest daughter and me. We tried our best, but we had a lot of headbutting. And it's only as she's gotten to be more articulate and as I've gotten to be a better listener that we've had a better relationship. And I will say, I don't know how this ends up having to do with dogs or with this or that or the other thing, but very often the negative reinforcement with her doesn't do anything except make her more willful.
Taking stuff away from her?
Taking stuff away from her, telling her she can't do this. She digs in her heels.
I mean, I understand that, like, because I am a person that I've been a contrarian for most of my life. I've sort of eased.
No, you haven't.
I've eased up on it.
Sorry, that was me being
more so in my older years because I'm just tired of being so negative.
Yeah.
So,
well, and what the point I'm trying to get at here is that as she's gotten older, and maybe this is just maybe it's just luck, but I've taken. There have been a lot of times where I've been the one. Everyone else has been trying to take stuff away, threaten. This all sounds very negative. Sounds very bad. Like, but like, you know, she won't eat dinner, right? And there's like the threats of no dessert, or there's the, you know, you got to come to the table, or whatever. And I've taken to letting her have her rage, which she needs to have, and then giving her space for a few minutes, and then going and sitting down next to her, and listening to her. And it's really, like I said, this is not necessarily something you can do with a dog. I'm talking about a kid here, but I have found...
Yeah, we're done with talking about dogs. We're talking about people now.
But I have found with people, at least, especially as they get to be able to communicate with you, I don't feel like I need the negative reinforcement, and I've seen that it doesn't really work for her. I don't know if is there something in between, like that's not positive or negative, but it's just, that's not reinforcement of any kind, but it's just, I understand you're pissed off. I'm going to sit here and be with you as you get through being pissed off, and we're then going to move past it. I don't know what that is.
I think Louis C.K. had a good bit when his daughters were younger that like, you know, I think he was just screaming at, well, I don't know if it was just in his act, so I don't know if this is something that was actually ever happening.
Yeah.
But he was just like, you need to eat. Like, if I don't feed you, like, they're going to think that I'm a bad parent, like, you know, at school, and they're going to take you away from me.
That would that would scare the shit out of a kid, I imagine.
Yeah, I don't think he actually said that to the kid, but that's like, you know, his train of thought. He's like, you have to fucking eat something. Like, seriously, child, like, do this thing because I love you and I don't want you to fucking be.
I don't want you to starve to death.
A ward of the state.
Yeah. Gosh, and so we just dropped Kaylee, my older daughter, off with her grandmother in Maine, and Melody, my younger daughter, was maybe even more emotional than Kaylee. Once we got in the car and we started driving away, she sort of realized that tonight her older sister is not going to be, you know, sleeping just across the way. And sometimes I don't know what made me think of that, but sometimes they can't stand each other, and today they're like, "Oh, we're gonna miss you."
Well, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder, right?
I guess
I almost said that wrong.
Unless absence makes the heart grow farter.
Yes,
farter.
That's
hello fodder, hello mutter. No, hello.
Here sister. I am at Camp Granada.
What else is on the list?
Well, yeah.
So I don't know, but
parenting is difficult. Raising a pet is difficult. Everything is fucking in the world is difficult.
Everything is very
unless
difficult.
It's not.
Unless it's not. You know what would be I don't think this would be difficult, Steve.
What?
Giving me an IMAX showing of Spider-Man Homecoming where I don't have to put on fucking 3D glasses.
All right, so you're coming from a person that does not wear glasses.
Right.
It can't be that bad.
It is that bad because any glasses, I can't wear sunglasses because of this fact. Any glasses, anything on my face starts to give me a mild headache. just from the get-go.
What if you actually
having anything on?
What if you start becoming nearsighted? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to get contacts?
No, I'm not. I think that would bother me even more. I think I'm going to have to get glasses, and I would hope that eventually the discomfort of having something resting on my nose.
You're just going to have two monocles.
Two monocles and a microphone.
No.
No, so I don't know.
Well, no, when I go to a 3D movie, I have to wear two sets of glasses.
Do you really? Oh, I mean,
derp! I can't fucking just be like.
No, but what I saw.
Can I have the ones that have my exact prescription in them? Thanks.
No, but what I imagined was that you were wearing like not just your own glasses, but you were wearing two sets of 3D glasses.
Yeah,
like they were like fucking
it'd be
like
9D
Cyclops up in here. You seen Cyclops lately?
We watched we just had, well, it was on in the background, but we had Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse.
Apocalypto, yeah. No, in the more recent comics, he has a red X instead of his visor. He's got a red X across the whole like top part of his head. I don't get it at all. At any rate,
maybe because he was like, oh well, like Geordie LaForge ripped me off.
Yeah.
Ooh, Robin.
I saw Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh, you did?
One time
in 3D twice?
No, not twice. My family, my kids would not sit still. Speaking of Melody, like Melody doesn't really. I don't know if she. She does not like the scary parts of these movies. I think she likes the rest of the parts of these movies, but the scary parts are what stay with her. And so she gets to that point and she wants to curl up in my lap. And so I don't know if we should keep taking her, but she seems to like to go for like the first 2/3 of it, and then like the last third where things go kablooey. Especially if it's going kablooey at night. It seems like the night scenes scare her more, but. No, my kids, my family would not go see anything in 3D. I go usually with these Marvel movies. I'll go on Thursday night, and I'll go to the biggest screen I can find, and just really
obviously you're not going to the biggest screen you can find because you're not going to the Jordans in Reading.
Well, I don't ever think to come south to go to those things. I always go north.
And then you walk in, and like there's the rotating what the fuck, the rotating door. What is that called?
The Carousel of Progress.
Yes, that. No, what the fuck? Why is it escaping me?
It's escaping me too. It's like Escape from New York.
All right, so you walk in.
Ego, the Living Planet.
Be careful of the door because it's automatic or something like that. I don't know. The guy from Jordan's with this heavy Boston. He's like, don't forget these seats are equipped with butt kickers.
Does he say that?
Yes,
he says that.
Sorry, that was wicked loud.
Butt kickers, huh? Yeah. I butt kickers. Is it like a subwoofer in your seat? Is that what it is?
Oh, by the way, we're getting local for you.
We're getting local for you.
Yeah, there's speakers in the seats. There's like complete like immersive sound, as they say.
I gotta go. I guess
you gotta go, and you have to sit in the middle.
Maybe when I go to see, I don't ever go to the middle because I have a weak bladder, and so I always go on the end, which is like you'd think if I was going by myself.
Why don't you get a month bladder instead?
Audio. I forget it's audio. Nobody can see me putting my head in my hands. I guess I could get a month bladder. Well, so I always sit on the end, which you'd think like if I'm going to the movie by myself, I could go right in the middle. I could get there early, but no, I always sit on the end
cup, because you can piss in it.
The last couple times I've timed it well. Like I haven't drank anything on the way there, and then I get a smaller drink for during the movie, and I seem to do okay. I don't have to get up, and I go right before the. Sometimes I go twice. Sometimes I go the moment I get to the movie theater, and then when I suspect that there's one or two trailers left, I'll run out. I'll go again.
Well, you'll miss trailers. I mean,
fuck trailers. Trailers are dumb. No, I love trailers.
Yeah, what the fuck? You're Mr. Trailer over here. You're like,
I hate most of the trailers they play in the movie theaters, though. There's only the same like 4 or 5 trailers I want to see over and over and over again.
I have like We went to.
I'll have to go to Thor Ragnarok when that comes around. I'll have to go to. Maybe I'll try Jordan's for Thor Ragnarok.
We'll go with you. Well, like hopefully. Oh yeah. Like, when does that come out?
That's November.
Oh well, fuck. Maybe
that's a ways away.
Who knows? Who knows where we'll all be by then?
You can't really make plans that far in advance. But I'm just saying, like, maybe I'd like to get kicked in the butt while Thor is trying to save Asgard from getting destroyed there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of the Spider-Man Homecoming?
I got 2 thumbs right up your butt.
I don't want them in my butt.
No. It was a great flick. What can I say without spoiling anything? I think it's the try not to spoil anything.
You don't have to say anything. We can change the subject.
No. So
you can say you liked it, and then
this is their 3rd attempt at making a Spider-Man movie, right?
Like
a Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah.
So there was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, and then there was the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Lots of people think about Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi one, as one of the best superhero films ever made. I think of that early period, I think that's pretty accurate. That's the one with Doc Ock.
The first one was good too.
The first one is great too. Yeah, the third one not so much.
The third one's garbage.
The first Amazing Spider-Man has its moments, but is not. This one of the things that this one has, and I don't think this is a spoiler, because everyone has seen the ads with Iron Man in it, and knows that it's connected to the rest of these Marvel movies. The thing that makes possible is that, I don't know if you remember from like the Sam Raimi movies, the amount of attention that's paid to like the slow-mo scene where we find out he has his spider sense, and like the real close-up on his fingers so we can see the icky-looking hairs that come out of his fingers that allow him to cling to walls. Like, there's a lot of time spent in that first Spider-Man movie explaining to us how his powers work, because you've got to imagine that movie came out in 2002, I think, and this is very early.
No, I think it was 2000 even.
What's it, 2000?
2000 even or 2001?
Maybe it was 2001, because X-Men was 2000, I think, and maybe it was 2001. I know that was one of those movies where there was the controversy over, are the towers still going to be in the movie?
Oh yeah. So it was probably filmed prior to 9/11,
right? And
then it came out in like the holiday season, maybe.
I can't remember, but so like there's a lot of attention paid in that first Spider-Man movie to like showing us.
Now I remember there was a trailer for the original Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That had him like making a web, catching a helicopter in between the two towers.
Oh, okay. I did not remember that. That's good. Good pull. The point being, they don't need to explain to us how superpowers work anymore, right? Because we've had tons of superhero movies, and especially we've had tons of superhero movies in this universe.
And plus, like, how many times do you need to see Spider-Man's origin story?
You don't need to see it anymore, and you don't. I don't think that's a spoiler. I mean, it's kind of a spoiler, but they're not going to.
Like, he gets bit by a radioactive spider. If you don't know that, then you maybe shouldn't be going to see the fucking Spider-Man movie.
Right. And then from there, I think it makes great use of the fact that it's in this universe without relying too much on the universe. Certainly, they take advantage of the fact that they can have Robert Downey Jr. in there, but I thought they did it judiciously. Is that the way I want to? Yeah, they did it. They did it with the right amount of taste in terms of where he shows up. It's not like it's a team up movie. He's there serving a particular role. They very much have a sort of 80s teen comedy structure going on in terms of
is there tits in it?
No, there's no tits in it.
Well, then,
sorry.
It's not. I'm out. I'm not going to see it.
It's not an R-rated 80s teen comedy.
I remember there being tits in like PG-13.
Yeah, I know. Well, or even before there was
just flashes of tits, not like excessive amounts of like tits.
No boobs.
That's a gosh darn shame.
No.
I remember like what was it? National Lampoon's European Vacation.
Hey kids, Big Ben, Parliament.
That one was rated PG-13, and there was a scene where Rusty was hooking up with some German girl at Oktoberfest, and then she brought she brought her boobies out.
Ooh. I don't remember that. Hey, Big Ben, Parliament.
Yeah.
That's the
you
only
probably
part.
saw it on television.
I probably did,
and you never saw the actual the real version of the movie. So
No.
that scene never happened on Comedy Central.
Never happened. And if boobs come out and you don't see them on TV, did they ever come out?
Yes.
No boobs come. I've seen some. I saw somebody critiquing. People critique everything.
Like me.
There was a
they
great
critique
video.
me
There's
for
a video I almost sent you. What the heck was the name of the guys? Okay, let me see if do I still have it saved somewhere?
I don't know.
We're not going to watch it on the show, but
we can't really. We want. What do you want? A live reaction?
No. But I almost sent it to you because I was like, I would love to have said that. Anyway, I think it's guys. I think their whole channel, or at least this video, is a YouTube show. Is critiquing bad critics, like bad reviews. So they went through a review of the National Treasure, starring Nicolas Cage. They went through this review of it and picked apart the ways in which the review was one of the laziest pieces of writing they'd ever seen, and it was hilarious. As he's, like the guy takes forever to get to his point. Like me,
I'm going to let you sit in it.
It's just a brilliant taking apart of
media criticism,
which I think, one of the things that I came to wrap up the Spider-Man thing. I wish I could stop watching trailers for things that I want to see, because one of the reasons that I love seeing things twice now. Is because the first time I see it, I'm having too much cognitive dissonance over, that's where that was in the trailer, and that's where that was in the trailer, and when this line doesn't end exactly where it ends in the trailer, or this other part that's supposed to be in, like, now I'm going, oh wait, that's not the way the movie goes, because I've watched the damn trailer or the damn commercials too many times, and then once I've seen the movie once and gotten that out of my system, the second time I'm able to just really enjoy it. And I know that the natural solution to that is don't watch trailers, but I love trailers.
You know what's weird is that there's sometimes if you watch a trailer for a movie, sometimes it's a comedy, there'll be things in the trailer that aren't in the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because it'll whatever scene or whatever didn't test well, and they're
right.
with a comedy you can take out things like that without affecting the plot or whatever too much.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the trailer for the Kids in the Hall movie, Brain Candy.
Yeah.
And I remember there being a lot of things in that trailer that were not in the movie at all.
Yeah.
And there was after years, it's one of those movies I really like, so I've decided to at least investigate what the fuck happened. There's a lot of things that I never got to see.
Yeah.
And there's an entire plot line that is completely removed from the film.
Yeah. Well, that was the most recent example I can think of with that was the Guardians of the Galaxy promo campaign. There's tons of stuff in those trailers, especially the early ones, that is not in the film at all. Different alternate takes, things that were hilarious, like big laugh moments in the trailers when you'd see the trailers in the theater that aren't in the movie.
Part-time.
Part-time.
Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah, part-time.
No, but in the Plinkett review of the Crystal Skull one, he's like, why would you use that take? The worst one. And then they show he shows the trailer version of it,
yeah,
and it's a better take. He says the line better in the fucking trailer than in the actual movie.
This is fucking George. Well, no,
that's part-time.
That's Spielberg directs those.
Yeah,
Lucas just writes them.
No, that is Spielberg's fault.
Yeah.
A good director made those mistakes.
It's still, I've watched that movie more than once.
Wow.
I'm just going to say.
That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I own it, So.
I watched it in the theaters. It was actually one of the movies, because
I don't think I saw it in the theater. I think I waited.
I saw it in the Morrisville, North Carolina theater, because that's where I was living at the time. I also went to see Speed Racer I went to see Speed Racer, and I think Tropic Thunder, and what was it? The second Batman, second Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. I saw that down there.
Yeah,
and
that's the only good one of those movies. Well, actually, you know what? I've heard Tropic Thunder is all right.
Yeah, it's got its merits. It's sort of funny. I'd watch it again.
Yeah,
but it's not something that I would be like, oh my god, you have to watch this.
Yeah, I think it was on. I know it was on. It was on at my sister-in-law's house when she was still married to the person I prefer not to think about anymore.
Oh,
my ex. Not brother-in-law, my sister-in-law's ex-husband. They were watching it once when we went over their house, and they had just watched it. They'd gotten it on Netflix or Redbox or whatever at the time, and they were like, "You got to see this scene of so and so dancing." I was like, "All right," which, out of context, was not that funny. Like, it was like, okay, that's is it Tom Cruise does like a dance?
Oh yeah, at the very end of the film
or something. I don't know. It was like, all right, no, it's all right. Looks are fine. And that Downey Jr. That's Downey Jr. prior to Iron Man, or no. That's he'd done Iron Man.
I think he had done the first Iron Man.
He'd done the first one. So he's fully into comeback mode, but he still does blackface.
Yep. Oh
boy, yeah. So Spider-Man: Homecoming, 2 thumbs up.
Way up.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I was in fact planning on going to see it, but
I think it's a good fun movie. I think what I liked about it, and one of the reasons I like taking the kids, is that even though it has its scary moments, I felt like it was a pretty uplifting movie. Uplifting is probably the wrong word. It's a teenage movie. Like, nothing, even though you get the sense like nothing terrible is going to happen to this kid, but like the things that happen to him from a teenager's perspective are all terrible. This John Watts, the director, has talked about that. Is when you're like 15, everything, battling a supervillain is an 11. Asking a girl out to the dance is an 11. Like, everything is super stressful, and I
So, like, it didn't suffer from Spider-Man 3's woes, which was too many villains. It was just...
No, it did not. There are other villains other than the main one, but
which is the Vulture.
The Vulture, yeah. But it's not... it's not so much.
And Michael Keaton does a good job.
Michael Keaton does a great job. Yeah, he's... and people have said this, he's probably the best Marvel villain, and I feel like I'm building it up now. But he's the best Marvel villain since probably Loki, right? And he's not the same kind of villain where Loki is just kind of unhinged and doing crazy stuff. Loki in the Avengers. This is a guy who has motivations. Like, he has motivations you understand, and yeah, he's Michael Keaton. Like, he just like raise an eyebrow and he makes the goddamn scene.
So I mean that's one of the things that's great. I keep on. I will forever bring up One Piece. But the reason why I enjoy it so much is that the villains usually have a decent motivation.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, some of them, like Eneru is just a freaking crazy person that wants to go to the moon, and wants to destroy the world in the process for some reason. But then there's also like what was it? Doflamingo. As much as I have problems with that particular arc, like you look into his backstory, you realize some pretty shitty stuff happened to him,
right?
And so you understand the motivation that he has to be such a righteous prick.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily humanize him. Like, it doesn't make him a better person. Like, sometimes when, you worry that they're going into a backstory of a villain, you're like, fuck. Are they going to make this person like somebody I give a shit about?
Right.
But there have been, the heel turns that, like, in the series as well, where characters that were originally villains, like, help out.
Yeah.
Like, aren't necessarily, well, they aren't necessarily best buddies, but they're helping out to a certain extent.
Things change, yeah. I think
because like mutual interests, etc.
Yeah, one of the I tend to like those arcs. One of the things where I don't like them as much is the back and forth. It's one of the reasons that the X-Men series of films is frustrating to me, because they realize in X-Men 2, I guess. It works in X-Men 2, but then they keep going back and forth with Magneto. So, like, Magneto is not on their side, then he is on their side, then he's not on their side, then he is on their side. And it's like the only arc they have is to, like, bring Magneto back into the fold and then have him stop being... And, like, they do that in every goddamn movie. Like, he's helping them out, and then he's not helping them out. He's helping them out, and he's not helping them out. And, like, just fucking...
Charles.
Like, Ian McKellen is a great actor, but please, like, let him go off and
just be a villain.
Be a villain, or not just have him in a movie.
Yeah, you don't actually have... Yeah, well, it's hard not to have him in a movie, because, like, you have Ian McKellen playing him, so you don't want to not have him there.
Right.
But also, like, what are you going to do with it? Like, if he's not the villain, you can't make him the villain every fucking time.
It's the same thing, and, like, I'm on record as liking the Hobbit films despite their problems, but, like, I feel like that's another instance of, like, well, you have Ian McKellen, right? So we're going to add in all this extra stuff. I mean, that's not the only reason they do it, but we're going to add in all this extra stuff to flesh out Gandalf's story of what Gandalf is doing during The Hobbit, which is not what The Hobbit's fucking about, right?
Well, but the thing is, with The Hobbit, like, if you read it, you're like, where the fuck is he going? Right. What is he doing? And then he comes back, like, with fucking birds.
Yeah. But so, I mean, but I think a little bit of that would have gone a long way, right? And what we get is what was supposed to be, what could have been one movie turned into two movies, and we're all like, all right, fine, you can do two movies. But then by the time they're in production, they're like, no, actually, it's going to be three movies. And I like spending time in that world. I like Ian McKellen. I think they do a good job, but it's just like, you've got a good thing. You need to know when to keep that good thing limited to what it's useful for. So, going back to Homecoming,
everybody, it's a good thing.
I've seen. I want to go watch that guy take apart critics again, because it just makes me happy.
It stinks.
Because I hate critics. Go make something. That's. Anyway, so
yeah, like a podcast talking about things.
What was my point? Oh, I lost it. Please, somebody out there.
I don't know what you were
The show is not
trying
live. Nobody can live tweet me right now to tell me what my point was.
I don't know what you were fucking trying to say.
I was going to say something about Spider-Man Homecoming. Oh, I've seen people critique the amount of screen time that Zendaya, who plays Michelle, she's one of Peter's friends in the film, and the amount of screen time that Marissa Tomei, who plays Aunt May, get in the film. But I think that they're in there just the right amount, and the filmmakers understand. Yes, we have Marissa Tomei. Yes, we have this rising star in Zendaya who's doing a good role, who's doing a good show, who's giving on a good performance.
A rising star in the high school fencing world. I am the Blue Thunder of Furinkan High. Tatewaki Kuno, age 17.
Do I have to drink?
I don't know. Ranma reference?
Oh, Ranma reference. Anyway, I think they're in there just the right amount. And I think that it speaks to, like, you realize you have a great performer, but the great performer serves their role in whatever story it is. There's some cameos from other people. There's I'm trying to think if what I was about to say is in the trailer.
Well, a toll is a toll, and a roll is a roll. And if we don't get no tolls, we don't eat no rolls.
We were talking about trailers. Have you seen or watched a million times the trailer for Game of Thrones, which premieres a week from now?
I've seen it once.
Yeah.
I didn't want to completely blow my wad over it yet.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just watch it.
Right.
And you completely ruined things for me when you informed me that this wasn't going to be the last season.
Not the last season. They, the other thing that I've heard is that the final season, I think next season is going to be the final season. That those episodes may in fact be feature length, whatever that means. That the episode, I don't know if feature length just means like an hour and a half, or if feature length means 2 hours.
Well, feature length, like a feature length film.
It's anywhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours.
Typically.
A comedy is usually an hour and a half. A drama is usually 2 hours, but they might be.
Maybe they'll try to mix it up, make it a comedy the entire time.
Who do you think who tells the best jokes?
It's Tyrion Lannister's wacky adventures. Let's make fun of a little person for an hour and a half.
They did, when you think about it, the early seasons of that show, they didn't have all the special effects. So they had a lot of boobs and a lot of making fun of little people.
Yeah, or at least Tyrion, because he was
right.
He was the local little person.
Yeah, a lot of boobs and a lot of sex.
I like the alliteration there. Maybe we should call the episode "The Local Little Person."
Maybe. I was thinking how could I get away with the least amount of editing or whatever tonight? Because we're recording late on a Sunday.
Do you want to bleep me when I say asshole?
Then there could be the implication that it was something worse than asshole if I bleep it.
What if I called him a cunt hole?
Yes, that would be worse.
Well, I don't think he's made it this far. So.
No, I would imagine not. So here's the reason I bring up Game of Thrones. So I am going away next weekend, right? So I'm going to be in...
Sail away, you can fly on the wings of freedom. You can reach the sky. That is not One Piece. I don't know what... Well, you're drinking alcohol.
I'm just drinking alcohol to get through the last 9 minutes or 8 minutes of the show.
It was an ad for Beck's beer back in the 90s.
Beck, like 2 turntables and a microphone, Beck.
Yeah, but it was Beck's, plural.
Beck's. Well, oh no, it wasn't possessive, it was plural. Beck... S, no apostrophe.
Beck's.
I
don't think I've ever had Beck's. I don't know if it was. I'm gonna do some research on Beck's.
Some research on Beck's. So I'm gonna be away. I'm gonna be in a log cabin. No, I'm gonna be in a condo somewhere in New Hampshire with family. And Sunday night is gonna come around, and I don't usually stay up to watch Game of Thrones live. I usually watch it the next morning whenever it shows up on HBO Go. But the next morning is going to be a Monday morning with all my family around. And I think even though there aren't as many boobs on Game of Thrones as there used to be, watching Game of Thrones is a little bit like watching porn. You don't watch it with your family around.
Well, you could watch it with friends around. It's not like you're going to be whacking it.
Right. Yeah, but okay.
You're the boys that have been whacking in my shed.
But you see what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to watch Game of Thrones with my family around?
Okay.
I can't.
I don't care about the art label. What the fuck?
What?
Sorry, I'm looking at... there's nothing on this wiki.
Un Perdidor.
Okay, so Beck's Brewery opened in 1873.
Wow, that guy looks good for his age.
Becks.com. Since 2008, it has been owned by Interbrew, a subsidiary
where it's at
of the Anheuser-Busch. So like Budweiser owns Beck's now.
I got 2 Budweisers and a microphone.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to say about Beck's beer.
Beck's. I mean,
I've never drank it.
I imagine it would be pretty weird. I imagine it might be trying too hard to be David Bowie.
Or trying too hard to be a Scientologist. I don't know.
I know. Is he a Scientologist?
Yeah, he is.
I was speaking of HBO. I was scrolling through HBO documentaries the other day, and I saw the
Slender Man.
No, Going Clear, the Scientology one.
That one was pretty interesting.
I've still never watched.
We watched.
Is Beck going to be on that one?
I don't think he was on there, but well, you don't really get the celebrities to be on those kind of documentaries.
You're making. I mean, except for maybe Leah Remini, right? She's ex-Scientology.
I don't know.
I think she got out.
Well,
she got out the cult.
It's weird. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't want to like talk about it too much.
No, because even me just saying get out the cult, they might sue us.
Yeah. So we just say you think it is.
I think it's a cult.
Yeah, you can say that.
Oh, okay.
But saying that it is one is an entirely different.
I didn't say I meant to infer that in my mind she was getting out the cult.
Okay. Yeah, because that is an opinion of yours.
It's an opinion, and you know what they say about opinions, Steve.
Everybody has one, and they all smell like assholes,
mm-hmm.
like your best friend.
He's not my best friend. I don't know him at all. I just like his work.
Yeah, well, he's going to be like, I'm banning you from listening to my podcast.
He's going to like find my IP address, and I'm not going to be able to download any of his shows anymore. And
then you're just going to have to listen to something.
I'm going to have to go back to listening to audiobooks. Actually, I've been thinking about that anyway. Not entirely like cutting out my podcast, but like actually buying a new audiobook to listen to. Because last week, Steve, none of my fucking podcasts updated.
Oh.
I had like nothing to listen to. I had to go to work. What the fuck are all these podcasters doing?
I don't know.
What are they doing, Steve? Give me an episode. We gave them an episode.
Oh, because of the holiday.
I don't know. They just also there are a number of episodes, a number of podcasts that I listen to that come out every other week, but they're all on the same their schedules are all lined up. So it's not like I get some of those ones that are once every 2 weeks, 1 week, and some of them another. They all come out, and then I have this Darth Vader of episodes.
Today's episode has been brought to you by Beck's Beer.
I got two.
Stop bringing up Beck.
Budweiser's in a microphone.
Actually, we continue to be sponsored
by Citizen Cider.
No, we're not sponsored at all. But I continue to drink Narragansetts.
So, I mean, in that regard, if you said this episode is brought to you by, that would be accurate.
It is actually brought to you by Narragansett because I am two Gansets deep.
Yeah.
And it's also brought to you by a quart of Bud Light.
A quart of Bud Light?
That we went to for dinner.
You had a quart of Bud Light today?
Yes. What was it? We went to the Red Robin up the street.
Red Robin.
Yum. We're not brought to you by them, though. Actually, maybe, because they did provide me alcohol. But they were like, "Do you want like they ask you?" I'm like, "I'll just have a Bud Light or whatever." Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Do you want 16, 22, or 32?"
Ooh.
And if you remember that a gallon is 100 and
I don't remember, but
okay, a gallon is 128 ounces.
Okay.
So a half gallon is 64 ounces.
Uh-huh.
So a quart is 32 ounces.
So you could get a quart.
You can saddle up to the bar and be like, "Please give me a quart of beer, my good lady."
A quart of beer. That sounds like too much beer.
It was a lot of beer.
It sounds like a lot of beer. It sounds like maybe you share that with a friend.
I got home and I played Zelda for a little bit and I'm like, "Oh my god, I gotta piss." I'm almost done. I'm almost done with Zelda.
Almost done with Zelda.
I've got 870 or so Korok seeds of the 900.
Koroks are cute.
Yeah,
I saw you got a Korok when I was coming in here.
Yeah, they're little leaf guys.
He's like, "Hello, you got me."
Yeah. Yeah, ha ha.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Last night like, okay, so in Zelda, when you
sounds like a Game of Thrones kind of. You're in Zelda. I think Link's a little young to be in Zelda.
When you get a horse in Zelda,
I wouldn't call Zelda a horse.
No, but you went the wrong way with that. But whatever.
Okay.
When you acquire a horse, in the game Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
Trying to be as explicit with my language as possible so you don't make dirty jokes.
I'm trying to be explicit too.
I know. When you get a horse, you calm it down. You soothe the horse while you're riding the horse. And Link goes, oh, 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 oh. And when we were coming home last night,
on your horse?
No, we got home and then we were walking to the door and I kind of gave Becky a little slap on the behind and I'm like, yeah, let's go. And so she starts veering off to the side and I grabbed her. I'm like, oh, 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 oh. And we lost our shit laughing. It was so fucking funny.
Well, I'm glad that turned into positive reinforcement, Steve, because negative reinforcement doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, we were like, she would have just went off into the woods over to BJ's or something.
To BJ's? You can find the show notes for this episode at clarkwoods.com/hot/154. This episode brought to you by Citizen Cider
and Narragansett. Things that make us drunk.
And if you have anything to say about this episode, you can email us at hot@clarkwoods.com.
Yes, that's hot@clarkwoods.com.
Yes.
That's the preferred way to send long messages to us and not through Twitter.
You can tweet us.
You can tweet us, but send us fun little things on Twitter, not 19 million fucking messages.
You can send me as many messages as you want. Just send Steve one.
Or you could send me a private message if it's something that you're not trying to paint me out to be a fucking abusive asshole. Thank you.
I am at ECC1977.
And I am at Tuesday is Loser. That's Tuesday IS Loser, all one word.
I like the cider. This is a traditional semi-sweet cider from Citizen Cider's Unified Press.
You know what? Like we got those because on the side of the package it says, "Hey, look at these cans."